Tesla is all the hype right now. The innovation behind this car is what attracts its loyal following. However, even if Tesla has a strong following and even if it offers a lot of features that are new in the car market, not all of its cars are created flawlessly. If you look closely, you'll see certain imperfections about the car that even hardcore fans find annoying, or worse, abhor. Hence, if you plan to buy a Tesla, you may want to familiarize yourself with these imperfections so you can make a sound decision. To some, these flaws are reasons enough for them to say that getting a Tesla is a terrible idea. So, before you write a fat check and drive home a Tesla, read on to find out more about Tesla's imperfections. Admittedly, Tesla is cool and hip. Moreover, it comes with features that make the car stand out from the rest. Still, if you get to know its flaws, it's difficult to just shrug them off, especially if you're paying a steep price for the car. It's just reasonable to look at all the cons before you give your final decision. So, is the Tesla car for you? Or is it just a shiny new toy that's more problematic than it looks? Read on to find out the 15 reasons why buying a Tesla might not be worth it and why it might be a bad investment for you. 15. It's all the hype. Before Tesla even came to life, it was already making a buzz online and offline. There are many updates about it circulating on social media, which made it very popular among car enthusiasts online. Actually, if you were following its founder, Elon Musk, the updates arrive right on your phone regularly, which makes you desire it more. However, it seems that Tesla is just all hype. Although a lot of people call it the car that sets a new standard in the market, much like the iPhone when it first came out, it's really a different situation. Getting a Tesla is much more expensive than getting an iPhone, a mistake not everyone can afford. So, you need to think hard if this car is really for you before buying one because some of what it offers might not suit your needs. 14. Complicated to own and maintain. Having a Tesla car is cool, but it can also be the reason for your chronic headache. For a car that you can use for everyday city driving, the Tesla is a reliable option. However, if you're the kind of driver who often goes on long, interstate trips, you may want to reconsider getting a Tesla. Keep in mind, there aren't a lot of charging stations for this car, so if you have to go on a long drive, a single charge from home might not be enough. To avoid getting stranded, you need to plot your trip on a map and take note of all the charging stations along the way. You also need to set beforehand when to charge so you can be efficient on your trip. 13. Takes a while to get used to charging. If you plan to buy a Tesla, you should know that the algorithms for its charging routes, especially on interstate drives, may take a while to learn and get used to. So, if you're a long-distance driver, you might need to spend some time and effort on learning about the charging routes. This can be tricky, and not everyone is willing to learn additional stuff just to fill up the power source of the car. Moreover, there might be instances when it will tell you to skip charging, but that might leave you worrying while driving. Hence, you might end up charging every time you see a station just to have peace of mind. You might not be able to fully trust the algorithms just yet, but they're helpful on long drives. 12. Roadside service has limited coverage. When you encounter a problem on the road while driving, you want a dependable roadside service assistant. Sadly, for Tesla, its roadside service doesn't include if you run out of battery power. Unfortunately, if your car runs out of battery while driving, you cannot call them up to boost you with electricity. What can you do then? You need to call AAA Gold Plus. However, that's another investment you have to make. What else you can do is take preventive measures. You should make sure you always have enough juice to run the distance of your trip. 11. No spare tire. We don't know why Tesla cars don't come with a spare tire. Can the car run flat? Well, sorry to burst your bubble, but it doesn't run flat. Sadly, If your tire gets punctured, you won't be able to change it on your own since it doesn't have a spare tire. What can you do then? You have to call Tesla's service center hotline, and they'll be the one fixing it for you. That may sound nifty, but what if you're driving in the middle of nowhere when such an unfortunate incident happens? Well, you just have to wait for them to arrive because there's nothing you can do about it. Another temporary fix is you can buy their $90 tire inflator. This can help you out on a single minor puncture, but that's it. 10. Tires wear out quicker. When driving a Tesla, accelerating from standstill to 60 miles per hour can be very hard on tires. Hence, if you like to zoom away when driving, your tires wear out quicker compared to other cars. For instance, if you are driving a Tesla on stock tires, you might just get to use them effectively around the first 40,000 to 50,000 miles. After that, it might be unsafe to continue driving with the stock tires. You need to get them replaced immediately. In most cases, changing the tires for the first time are free and covered by the service center. However, after that, you will immediately incur additional costs to ensure safe driving with your Tesla. 9. Weak against the cold. Since Tesla is an electric car, it's equipped with a range meter that tells the driver how long until it's fully discharged. This allows you to plan your route ahead so you know when and where to stop to charge it. To ensure a safe drive, its range meter is tested well and proven to be accurate. However, it's mostly accurate during summer, but once the weather begins to get colder, the range meter may start to act up. It may even become unusable, especially during winter. So, you can get stranded in the middle of nowhere on a winter day because the range meter won't work properly. Winter driving with a Tesla can be very difficult. Since it also doesn't have a spare tire, you can easily be stranded during winter with a punctured tire and a discharged battery. 8. Tough to drive in the snow. Most cars are difficult to drive in the snow, but so is the Tesla. However, since you're paying a lot for this car, you expect it to be a little more cooperative during winter. That's not the case because if you want to make it easier to drive in the snow, you need to make an additional investment. Driving with its regular tires in the snow can be scary, so you might need to buy winter tires that cost around $2,000. The unfortunate thing is that even if you get winter tires, you still won't have peace of mind. It can still feel that driving the Tesla in the snow can end up in an accident with its wheels losing traction and the car flipping over in the snow. 7. Takes some time to get used to its braking system. Tesla comes with a feature called regenerative braking, which for most traditional drives, require some time to get used to. This feature can be very aggressive, so you need to practice it to get familiar with it. If you don't get used to it easily, you might find it odd or weird when driving. However, don't worry too much about it because you won't topple over in case you press on the brake immediately. In most cases, it takes 10 to 20 minutes before you fully like it, and by that time, you'll be able to appreciate how effective it is when you drive. 6. Always have to think about charging stations. The Tesla isn't like other cars. Since it's fully electric, it runs solely on battery power. If you don't charge it well, it'll stop running, and you can get stuck on your trip. Therefore, you need to know about the charging stations on your route. You also need to properly plan all your trips ahead because charging stations aren't as plentiful as gas stations. You don't want to get stranded while driving, so you need to know the exact locations where you can refill your car's power juice. Also, you might need to make alterations at home if you want to install a charging station in your house. This will require additional expenses on your end. 5. No test drive. Unlike most car purchases where you can test drive the car before making a decision, this isn't available when you buy a Tesla. In a way, it's ridiculous to buy an expensive car without testing it. It's even more ridiculous to buy a car that you'll just see for the first time once you purchase it. That's the case for the Tesla. Since you can buy it online, you can easily buy it without testing it, which can be a disadvantage. Why? It's because you might find some things in person that you don't like but haven't seen when purchasing it online. This is why doing a test drive for a car is important. Remember, a Tesla is a serious purchase, and you deserve to test drive it before you give yourself a go signal for buying it. 4. Limited to 2 cup holders. As an electric car, we all know that the Tesla offers a roomy cabin. However, it's weird that inside the car, there are only 2 cup holders. Why would they limit the cup holders to 2 only? It seems that the design and engineering team somewhat failed in that area. They could have added more for the convenience of the passengers, but unfortunately, they only limited it to 2 cup holders. So, in the end, if you have more beverages than the cup holders can hold, some passengers will be forced to hold their cups. You can't just put them on the floor since they might spill. So, the passengers will just have to keep their beverages in their hands all the time. 3. Premature Rattle. There have been complaints about the Tesla that some of its cars develop a premature rattle. For instance, Andy Bloor wrote a post on thedrive.com that his Tesla began to produce noises when it hit 18,000 on the odometer. Apparently, the Tesla was noiseless when he first purchased it, but after it hit that travel distance, he noticed that it was making some noises already. To fix this, he got his car checked at the service center. The maintenance guy diagnosed that it might just be a loose ball joint, but they didn't have the time to fix it when he brought it to the service center, so his car still made some rattling sounds after. 2. Hardware lags behind software upgrades. Like any other new product, the software update on the Tesla can happen automatically and instantly. You can simply set it to update on its own, and you can forget about it later on. However, this isn't the case on the hardware. When it comes to the hardware, you need to manually upgrade that. Sadly, to do so, it can be very tedious and very expensive. So, you end up having outdated hardware running on the latest software, which is inefficient or unusable for you. For instance, there was an update where Tesla added features such as autopilot, dual monitor, and blind spot monitoring, but many drivers weren't able to take advantage of these because their hardware was unable to support them. 1. Too expensive. The basic Tesla car comes with a price tag of $36,000 plus. However, if you're buying a Tesla, you're not the type of person who settles for the basic. So, you go all out and buy the bells and whistles that can be added to it. When you do so, the Tesla is no longer a mid-range vehicle but a luxury car. Some features you can add to the basic package can include heated seats, a bigger battery. Of course, you would want to have the autopilot mode on a Tesla. These things will add about $10,000 to $15,000 damage. Hence, the car can cost $50,000.